Quite an introduction there. Thank you so much. You know, that book, I'm living proof that anyone can write a book. I made C's in English and couldn't spell a lick. All right, so anybody can write a book on that. So appreciate that. And thinking about the red-white game, that was a highlight of my whole Razorback career. I wore number 1. I remember after the game, we were standing in line for autographs, and this little kid comes up to me and, "Will you sign my autograph or sign my shirt?" "Oh yeah." And I heard his dad say, "Hey, that's Donnie Center right there." I was number 1, Donnie Center was number 1. I wasn't Donnie Center, so that kind of broke my heart on that. That was kind of my highlight on that. Also wanted just to say I appreciate Governor Beebe being here. Here's the thing about this guy. He knows more about recruiting than half my staff, okay? So, Governor, when you get done in 2 years, I got a job for you, recruiting coordinator. I'll tell you what, he did a great job. He got a chance to, he spoke to our team right before the big game in Louisiana Roll. I'm telling you what, it gave me goosebumps. I'm not, you know, as a coach, my strength's not pre-game speeches and all that, but he did a great job, and I really believe that helped us, and I really appreciate that. And I've said this before, but you know, anytime you're thinking about a job and you're kind of going back and forth, should you do it? This college football, you got to make decisions like in 24 hours. It's the craziest profession I've ever seen. I mean, you got to make decisions that affect the rest of your life in 24 hours. And so, towards the end of it, I called the governor and I said, "Governor, hey, you know, I really feel like this is a program. We can be a top 25. We can do all this." And he said, "Hey, I'm going to do everything in my power to help you get that done." And then right after that, I told Chris, I said, "We're going to Arkansas State." So, really appreciate the governor. I also want to give a shout out to Kevin Kelly over there, one of my favorite coaches. You know, this guy's popular, not just in this state. Y'all go around the country and people will say, "Are you that coach that never punts?" But no, I am very proud of Kevin. He's known all around the country. I was at Auburn and I was eating lunch somewhere and I look up and I see him on ESPN. And you know, I've got a special place in my heart being a former high school coach in this state. And I remember when I first started coaching high school that, you know, there was people that really looked down on, or you know, the Texas coaches, the Oklahoma coaches, and the Arkansas coaches were down here, and that's no longer. And it's a tribute to guys like Kevin Kelly, and so really root for him. I want to recognize my parents, Ray and Edie Room, if y'all would kind of give away. Things about being back in the state of Arkansas coaches, I actually got a chance to see my mom on Mother's Day for the first time since I started coaching college this last Mother's Day, so there's all kinds of special things with that. It's been a real interesting year. You know, a lot of things happened. We opened up with the Oregon Ducks, and I know they got beat last week, but I'm just telling you, when you watch those guys in pregame, you go, "Oh my." You know, we took the 4th most inexperienced team in college football as far as starters down there, and people ask me in the media, "Hey, what are the positives that you can take out of that?" Absolutely nothing. We got our teeth kicked in. We lost our 2 returning starters on offense. You know, one of our linemen and our wide receiver, Ryan Applin, actually made it through the game healthy. We did score 37 points, which is more than anybody has scored on them all year, but the bottom line is it was never a game. And now I will say this, if we can fast forward a couple years, we'll go back to Oregon and we'll play with them. But this year it was extremely tough challenge as far as that goes. We come back home against Memphis, and Memphis is a big rival, and they're kind of the same boat we are. Young team, new coach, and we won that game, but it was ugly. And you know, it's kind of one of those things that, boy, I'm happy we won, but we're not very good. And that was kind of the thought that was going through my mind. And then we go to Nebraska. And we knew Nebraska was really good on offense. We thought they were pretty good on defense. And we played with them until middle 3rd quarter. We had a chance. We got a turnover. We had to kick a field goal instead of a touchdown. We could have made that instant. But we ended up getting beat. And I really think that they'll have a chance to probably play in the Rose Bowl. So we played probably 2 of the top 10 teams right off the bat with a young team. Learned a whole lot about our guys. We learned a lot about our coaches, too. We got a new staff, a lot of young guys and all that. Then we came home against Alcorn State. We beat them pretty good. We should have. Felt like we got a little bit better, and then we started our conference. And I'm just going to tell you something about the Sun Belt. And you know, of course, I've been in the SEC, and I kind of look from afar at Sun Belt, but this is a real conference. And nowadays, either conferences are going down or they're going up. And you can see the success a lot of these guys have played. But we opened up with Western Kentucky, and they had most of their guys back. And it was a tough game for us, and we ended up getting beat at home. And it was kind of one of those things that after you get through with the loss, you really got to evaluate everything. You got to evaluate your players, everything that you're doing. And so we kind of took a step back, and we identified our strengths. And we just really focused on our strengths offensively and defensively and kicking game. And really from that time forward, things started going really well. We ended up winning 6 straight to where we're at. And like I said, you look at the Louisiana Monroes of the world, you know, they played Arkansas, they won, they go to Auburn, almost beat them in overtime. And then Baylor, you look at what Baylor did this week. They almost beat Baylor, so that really makes you appreciate it even more what they're doing. And then you look at Louisiana Lafayette, they go to Florida. And they got a punt block on the last play of the game. So you're talking about some teams that can really play. And of course, we're set up right now, like they said earlier, we're set up for the conference championship December 2nd. And we play Middle Tennessee, the same Middle Tennessee team that went to Georgia Tech and beat them by about 2 or 3 touchdowns. So this is going to be a good one. You know, our goal has been to win the conference championship and go to a bowl. And so we're really excited to be in position in 2 Saturdays from now at 2 o'clock. To play for the conference championship. Probably the highlights here, from my standpoint, are our fans. It's been unbelievable. We've averaged right at 25,000 fans, and people said there's no way you average more than 20. And our guys have really showed up. It's been an unbelievable atmosphere. We got the student section. Carter Ford, that we hired from Governor Beebe's office, has done a wonderful job about getting school spirit, creating an atmosphere, and it was really something. National TV. All right, big for recruiting. We've been on national TV 8 times this year, and that does nothing but help. And we've been very fortunate after the first 2 that we've actually played well. When you got your moments, you've got to play well. And the last 2 times we've been, that's either ESPN, ESPN2U, or even ESPN3. And really, to be honest with you, ESPN3 before, I was thinking, oh, ESPN. I think that's probably where college football is going to. You know, where every game is going to be televised, and that's been big. Recruiting right now couldn't go any better. We had the #1 class in the conference last year by a long shot, and it was going good. I think we got like 16 commitments. It was going good before the last 3 or 4 weeks. But we are getting interest. People are calling us right now, you know, that are committed to big conferences and all that. So things are going very good as far as recruiting. And like I've said before, it's going to start for Arkansas State in this state. We're going to recruit Arkansas like nobody's ever recruited the state. I'm a big believer in the coaches and the players. I think we signed 12 last year in this state. I want that number to grow each year, and really believe that's going to be the core of who we are as far as that goes. Now, with recruiting, you got to have new facilities, and we have a $25 million football complex indoor facility that we're going to break ground after the season. Very excited about that, and that's something that goes a long way. It shows everybody the commitment that we have to making this thing happen. I'm extremely excited about it. You know, we're not just recruiting against Sun Belt teams. We're recruiting against SEC schools, Big 12 schools. That's the type of players that we're going to need at Arkansas State to take our program to where we want it to be. Now, offensively, right now we're in the top 20 in offense, which that'll make the 6 out of the last 7 years we've been a top 25 type offense. So we really believe we've got a great product to sell on the offensive side of the football. Now, our defense is getting better, all right? And John Thompson is one of those guys. We're very similar with our approaches. We like to be aggressive. He took a very young defense, and he's got that attacking style, and we really feel like we're going to improve in that area. We are on track to break most of school records offensively, which I think is important. Of course, Ryan Applin, in my opinion, is one of the top probably 10 quarterbacks in the country. You're talking about a guy that has 20 touchdown passes and only 4 interceptions. That's kind of been our focus. Last year he had 19 touchdowns and 16 interceptions. Coach Lashley, my offensive coordinator, which is one of the young up-and-coming guys in college football, had really focused, and he's really coached that guy up, and that's been a big key to our success. He was the Sun Belt Player of the Year offensively last year. His numbers are better this year, so if we can finish this thing, he could go back-to-back. And I really believe we have a chance to play at the next level. He's got everything it takes. I mean, he's got a lot of ability to make things when things break down. He did that last Saturday. He played an unbelievable game, and we're very, very proud of him, and he's really the face of our program. Very fortunate to have a very supportive administration. Dr. Welch, I believe he's here. You're talking about one of the up-and-coming presidents in all of college, and he is another reason that I'm extremely excited to be at Arkansas State with his vision. Dr. Hudson has been on board with us for a few months. Our chancellor has been a big-time breath of fresh air with his vision and the leadership. And then, of course, our new AD, Terry Moager, is a former player at Arkansas State. He knows the heartbeat of our players. He was a former player. He knows the football aspect of it and got a great vision. So we're very, very fortunate. I'm just going to tell you, with the goals that we have, the very first thing you got to have is support administration. I'm very fortunate to have those guys. And here's the great thing: we're in this thing together. We're in this thing together, and that's the way. That's the only way it works in college football. The programs are all together. They're going like this. You're either going like that or you're going like that. So I'm really excited about that. Our goals are really, I should say this: the goals that I had when I first took the job, there was 3 of them. I believe more today that we can accomplish all 3 than I did when I first took the job. First one is to be a top 25 type team year in and year out. And we're on the verge, all right? Our guys have bought into what we're doing, and we got a chance, if we can finish this thing, to break into it. Now, our challenge is to win consistently. And if we do that, you know, then that'll definitely happen. Second goal was to make Arkansas State a statewide program. It's kind of been Jonesboro, and I grew up in Fort Smith, and I kind of thought of ASU that sometimes it wasn't even really in the same state. Okay, that's the way I looked at it. And I think that's the way a lot of people look at it. And so what we're trying to do is increase our fan base. Central Arkansas, if you've noticed, we've really tried to recruit, we've tried to market. We really think there's a lot of people, we're very close, that we can engage, all right, and to get interested in Arkansas State. We talked about playing a game at War Memorial. We're still on board to doing that. We want to play 1 game every year here in Central Arkansas. Now, you've seen that, boy, this game or that guy or this opponent, we've worked hard to get a big-time opponent. What you got to understand in scheduling is these teams schedule years ahead, and we're kind of coming in late. So we're not for sure exactly who our opponent's going to be. We're still waiting from the conference office to make sure they guarantee us a home game in Jonesboro, okay, the first month of football before we announce who we're going to play. But we are going to do that. I mean, we've reached out to some big-time opponents. We've reached out to the University of Arkansas. We'd like to play them in Little Rock in the future, and we think that would be good for the state. So we're definitely committed to that, and to make ASU a statewide program. And then our last goal is to go to a bowl every year. You know, last year I got a chance to go to the bowl game. Arkansas State had almost 15,000 people there. And that does nothing but help for the future. So we are going to a bowl this year. We don't know which one. If we can finish this thing, it'll be a really good one. And if we can turn out again, all right, with a big following, it's going to be nothing but fun as far as that goes. But like I said, I mean, I believe more today than I ever did before that we can accomplish these things at Arkansas State. We got great kids. Really, I'm very fortunate to follow Steve Roberts, you know, and Hugh Freeze. You're talking about 2 guys that were men of character. They recruited a bunch of really high character players. And it's been a really easy transition for me. We got great kids. They're very appreciative. I mean, if I take them to a movie, they say, "Coach, thanks so much." Most programs in college football, you know, they get mad when you ask them to go to a movie. So, and that's just the way it is. But I'm very, very blessed to be at Arkansas State and to follow those 2 guys and be able to coach. I told our players the other day, man, I'm so proud to be your head coach, and I really appreciate our players buying in to the vision and the dream, because college football, you know, when you have 3 different head coaches in 3 different years, if you're a player, you go, oh wow, new rules, new this, new that. But we have great kids, and the future is very bright at Arkansas State. So, all right, I'd like to open it up for any questions. Yes, sir. That's quick. Watch out. I've seen that before. People will go.
I did read the. This one may be a bit obscure, but the first question is, what is it like being a head coach now instead of having to deal with the Iron Bowl this week? And the second is, I had seen where your first book that you read as a coach dealt with Cubby Raymond's wing T formation. How influenced are you still influenced in your offense by that book?
Sure. Well, when I first started coaching, I didn't get a chance to learn under anyone. So I bought the Delaware wing T book when I was at Hughes, and I went for it word by word. You know, and that the wing T, if you remember back then, that's when all the top teams in the state were running wing T. And so I wanted to be like the Gerald Williams, the Frank McClellans, and so I read the book. And so what we did is we kind of slowly evolved. Once I went to Shiloh Christian, we put some pass in it, but we're still wing T based. We're a gap team. You'll see it even today. The buck sweep, power, and counter, that's who we are. And so that was very influential as far as that goes.
Yes.
I know he's only a freshman this year. I'd like to know your overall evaluation of Freddie Knight and what you predict for his future.
Yeah.
And also, with the phenomenal success of ASU, UCA, Henderson State, and Harding University, that is 3 different levels of football. What is going on in Arkansas that they have such incredible success?
Well, I tell you what, I would say it starts with the leadership. And I would say it, coaching. There's some great coaching. Henderson State, well, I'm very proud. I mean, I got a chance to go see them play in an off week, and I'm telling you, very proud of what they're doing. But it's great for the state that we have so many successful teams that are doing that. So I just think it's a little bit of everything. And I'll go back to this. I think it's the high school coaching, okay, that has really raised the level to get these players. Because used to, what was it, Dave? When we were 5 or 6 players a year, it ain't that way anymore. I mean, it's close to 15 on the average as far as Division I players. So I think it's a little bit of all of the above. Oh, Freddie Knight, yeah, God, he's one of my favorites now. You're talking about Freddie Knight, great character. Applin hadn't got hurt this year, so we hadn't got a chance to really, show exactly what he can do. But he is going to be a big-time player for us. You will see us do all kinds of creative things with him, and he's been a great leader for that freshman class, and the future is very bright for him. Yes.
Any truth that John Gruden is coming in as your offensive coordinator?
No, I'm pretty happy with Rhett Lashley right now, so I'll let him. Yeah, that's a pretty good rumor.
I've got 3 questions. Speaking of coaching rumors, there might be a possibility. Obviously, the Tennessee job is open. Auburn could be open. What do you say? Do you put the word out that Terry Mohajir said? Tell them I'm not talking. Have you made the statement that ASU is where you're going to be? That's one. Number 2, every time I turn on the TV now, I see 62-48. I see 55-45. And even Nick Saban seemed to express some concern about the spread offense and the rapid fire is doing something, maybe it's changing the game in a way he doesn't like it. I'd just like to hear your thoughts about the evolving offense in the game. And then I think for this crowd, I had a chance to see the ASU players up close. I think there's a perception that maybe players in the Sun Belt aren't NFL type players, but maybe talk about some of the players from last year's team excelling in the NFL, maybe some of the NFL type bodies you have on this year's team.
Yeah, I think they had 6 players last year that went to NFL camps. I think we'll have probably 3 to 4 guys that'll have a chance to make it in the NFL that are seniors this year. So you definitely the level. Now Nick Saban, he doesn't like that hurry up stuff, and he kind of speaks out. So that's a good thing. I mean, that's a real good thing. And I think that's where college football is going. I mean, if you really look, and I'm just going to say this, you look at the 3 or 4 top elite programs that they recruit, but they kind of pick. The top ones, they get the best players. They can be conservative. They can play old school, pro style offense, whatever you want to call it, because they're going to play great defense. It's all those other schools, you better figure out a way to score points. And so that's what you see. So it kind of bothers me sometimes that you hear, the pro style offense. Yeah, pro style offense, you look at pros, they're running a lot of shotgun, and they're doing a lot of things that colleges are doing. So this pro stuff is really perception, as far as I'm concerned. And the days of lining up under center and 21 personnel, I think they're going away somewhat. And I think the days of spreading the thing out and getting the ball to your space guys, I think that's very important as far as that goes. But that kind of gets Nick out of his comfort zone and all that. But that's okay. The other question is, I'm very happy at Arkansas State. We've got big goals and big dreams, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that thing through. Was there any other questions? Yeah, Rhett Lashley, of course, he played for me at Shiloh Christian. He broke national records, and I've said it before, the guy has the it factor. He was like a coach on the field when I was there, or when I coached him. Tried to get him to go to Tulsa with me. He didn't go. He had to get married. Okay, I was down on him. Okay, but got him at Auburn, and he really deserves a lot of credit. He worked. He was my right-hand man. Even though he was a GA, he was really my right-hand man as far as game plan, helping with Cam Newton. Just a fine person. He's a great recruiter. So my whole deal is trying to hold on to him long enough, because he'll be a head coach at this level. And he deserves a lot of credit. He deserves a lot of credit that our offense is in the top 20 right now.
So I got to ask you, have you called or texted Keith Reeves to tell him to win
phone?
Well, I talk to you at least once a week, okay? And first of all, I'll say this, I'm very proud of you. Because we got a chance when I was at Auburn last year to play Ole Miss the last couple of years. And what he's done is he's put life in that program. And that's hard to do. In the SEC, if you don't have the talent everybody else has, it's hard. It's a tough sledding deal. And for what he's done so far is unbelievable. But I definitely root for him, but it wouldn't hurt my feelings at all to play him in a bowl.
All right, 2 more questions. You mentioned Hugh Freeze, maybe some of the other coaches around the country. I know there's one that you're going to mention that really impressed you, that you feel are the up-and-coming guys and the guys you have a lot of respect for, maybe old school and new school. And also, too, you mentioned you guys trying to find a game at War Memorial, and you threw out there the Arkansas game. You've obviously played up there, the relationship, the history. Maybe talk about why you think that would be valuable for that game to be played when it has never been.
Yeah, well, first of all, of course, I grew up in this state, and I'm very familiar with everything. But I think it's just the day and time that Arkansas State and Arkansas needs to play in Little Rock. Needs to play. I think every other state in America is not 1970 anymore. I mean, it really is. And so I think it's healthy. I think it'd be great for everybody concerned. Now, my buddies in college football, the high school guys in college football, they all stick together. Chad Morris, I've known him for a long time. Very proud of what he's doing at Clemson. Of course, I'm rooting for him for the Broyles Award, okay? I think his offense is in the top 5, and the great thing is we've been running the same offense, for probably about 12 to 15 years. And very proud of what he's doing. And, I've got Mike Norvell, the offensive coordinator that's at Arizona State, top 25 offense. They're running a similar offense. He was a GA for me. So we kind of stick together, and the high school guys, we kind of root for each other. And I'm going to say this, I think we got somewhat of an advantage, especially with recruiting and knowing the high school coaches. And when you go in a high school coach's office and you're a former high school coach, it's pretty refreshing because they feel like you're one of them. And they know that we're going to take care of their kids. But we definitely have our own little fraternity that I'm very proud of. Yes?
Yes, sir. I believe the private schools in Central Arkansas and high school are doing really well. But what would you suggest that the public schools in Central Arkansas do to get back to a level where we don't have 3 out of the 4 in the top classification always coming out of Northwest Arkansas? What does Central Arkansas high schools need to do to get at the same level that we're seeing out of North?
Yeah, I think that's a great point right there. I think Central Arkansas, we got to get a strategy. It starts at the young ages. I mean, it starts at the young ages. That's what happened in Northwest Arkansas. And they're coming up and they're being developed. It's not just they're learning football when they're sophomores. And I think that's somewhat happens in Central Arkansas. But I know when I was growing up, Central Arkansas, the Park Views, I mean, they were machines. They were some of the best teams in America. And so Central Arkansas is very important to us recruiting. But I think the leadership of Central Arkansas come together and figure out a way to develop those young kids at an early age, get them involved with positive things that football, can come about.
I got one more question. Coach, we'll wrap it up after this. You mentioned college football, how it's amazing the kind of business it is. You make decisions in 24 hours that affect your life. It's also a very brutal business. You make big money, but you also, the chain is a lot shorter. We saw Derek Dooley, who I guess, just talk about maybe the pressure and the money and the business, the big business of college football.
Yeah, it is bizarre, to say the least. When you grow up being a high school coach, you have your standards and you don't want to be selfish. You want to do things the right way. This is a business, make no mistake. My biggest challenge is not buying into the business side, being true to who I am as a high school coach. I'm going to be honest with you, it's not easy. Recruiting is a business. And a lot of times people aren't completely honest with recruiting. One of the things that stands out to me, we've got to be honest. I think that also attracts people as far as recruiting. But I feel very blessed. First of all, I'll say this, I feel very blessed to be coaching college football. I love high school football, but I feel very blessed. But I'm going to tell you this, it's hard on families. Whether it's my family or any other coach's family, you wouldn't believe it because they hear all the stuff. As a coach, you're isolated. We were national championship. We were going through that deal with Cam Newton, all that eligibility stuff, you know what, it's week to week. You don't even hear it because you're worried about preparing for the next game. But your family, they hear everything. And I'm just so blessed that I have a family that allows me to do what I do and do something that I love. And in my family, we're all in it together. It hasn't been easy. I mean, you're talking about some very interesting times. Growing up in this state, being a high school coach, you get a chance to go to Arkansas and call plays. And I'm telling you, that was an unbelievable experience to know that you got great influence over whether they won or not. And then it kind of went south, and I'm not blaming anybody, but it was tough. It was tough. I went to Tulsa. My family stayed back, and they had to hear everything. It wasn't easy. Got a chance to go to Tulsa and work for a former high school coach that let me, run my offense. And I'm gonna be, I've told people this before. You know, as a high school coach, we run the same offense we did in high school, and I thought it would work, but I didn't know for sure it worked. All right, and then, but I got that opportunity. And then, college football gave me a chance to establish myself as an offense coordinator. And I got a chance to go to Auburn. And just so happened I got a chance to coach down in Cam Newton, one of the better players to ever play the game. So this guy right here standing up before you today has been very blessed. Everywhere I've been, I've had great players to coach. There's a lot of smarter coaches than me that hadn't been blessed enough to be able to coach the players. Every situation I've been in, I've had great administration. I've had great players. I've had great coaches around me that helped me. Arkansas State's no different. I can feel it. You can sense it that we're about to do something special. And that's what's been fun for me. That's what motivates me. What motivates me to get up early in the morning and stay up late at night. And I just feel very blessed, and I feel very honored to be from the state of Arkansas and be back coaching this state.